Hyver enables you to optimize the security investment based on the business impact and the financial exposure of possible breaches. As you can see while working with Hyver and Cye, you can see exactly which business assets are at risk. For example, employee information, customer information, business continuity, reputation, and more. And what are the likelihood of different types of attackers to get access to your assets? For example, external attackers start from the internet. Internal attackers or insider threats start from within the organization. You can see how they're affecting the different types of data that we mentioned: the employee information, customer information, business continuity, intellectual property, and reputation. And this is being calculated based on Cye's algorithm that considers multiple parameters. For example, number of employees, number of customers, which data that you save on those assets, what is the organizational revenue, the industry, the location of the organization, and many more parameters that are not necessarily related to security, but very important in order to provide the cost of breach Cye provides. This is not just from a single number. This is a range of numbers, because sometimes the numbers can vary between organizations based on the salaries, based on negotiations, for example, credit card monitoring, things like that. But it gives you the option to understand the exposures of the company is going to face in an attack. And based on that, take cybersecurity information, if you'd like to drill down further and understand exactly how likelihood is being calculated when you start to work with us and we define what threat actors that you'd like to emulate. So this is our currently looking at the risk dashboard. Next, we're going to the mitigation dashboard. So what are the business assets that you'd like to protect? Not necessarily where they reside. We are mimicking different threat actor types, trying to enter the organization and see exactly how an attacker can move laterally within your organization and which vulnerabilities and misconfigurations can be used by a threat actor if you're possibly breached. One of the advantages to this platform compared to your typical just getting your red team data or a pen test is the fact to be able to visually graph what that breach would look like. So you can see here the different types of threats we mentioned earlier. Here's an external attacker, so you can see them coming from inside, the different attack paths within the organization, the vulnerabilities that it's affecting. And see, we see the insider attack, an employee, insider attack developer. This is based on the access to the things they have and what they can get to with that access. So you can see different items on here like storage credentials and configuration files, remote code executions, the different types of vulnerabilities, and it chains together how these could be exploited. And so we also not only include your on-prem, we also include your cloud environments. We're in a world nowadays that it's not just totally on-prem. We have private, we have hybrid environments, we have on-prem, we have cloud specific environments where everything's being stored in the cloud. So for each of these findings, we call them the findings because we're getting more comprehensive down past just the CVEs, how these things can be connected to lead to a breach. So to speed up your remediation and process, in addition, we provide you with the severity based on CVSS, but more important, we provide you the probability for an exploit. What does this mean? It's the number between 0 and 1 that tells you the level of difficulty. For example, if the number is closer to 0, it means that it's super hard to exploit. If you'd like to require, it would likely require nation-state level capabilities, a zero-day exploit, or insider collusion from someone within the organization to successfully exploit that asset. Therefore, the probability the threat actor would succeed is exceptionally low. On the other hand, if the number is closer to 1, it means there's a lot of information out there, including exploits out there. So in this scenario, there are many tools to aid an attacker in exploiting and targeting, and does not require aid from an insider organization to exploit it. Based on that, we're talking all the routes into each one of the business assets, calculating each based on these routes, determining the likelihood of an attacker would be able to compromise business assets based on these routes. In a perfect world, we would recommend you remediate everything, but fixing all these findings are difficult. We don't live in a perfect world. We don't have unlimited budgets and resources. We're all constrained. So we need to be able to prioritize these. And this is where Hyver is able to help you with that. The probability, you're able to see what to focus on and to help reduce that threat landscape in a quicker fashion. So overall, the list of findings is much higher. The prioritization that we perform is minimized. We focus all the findings into the organization's successful attack routes and the attacker can get. And even out of all that, usually organizations cannot face all the findings due to the lack of budget resources. And therefore, we'd like to focus first on the findings which disconnect the attack routes, reduce the financial exposure in most effective maximum way. And here we can we're actively using the algorithms to take into account all the findings, attack routes, and probability of each of these findings and calculate a minimum set. So maybe go here and you're able to select critical to block, and this kind of reduces it down to just the items that are critical to block. And over here we can change it to most probable route, and it just highlights those that are most probable, and we can go to lowest cost level. So if you're like really on a strict budget, you can go through and select that, even like lowest level of effort. And so when you select these, you can save it to your mitigation plan. And as you go over here, we can go see some mitigation plans that were already created. So we're able to drill down into each one of these. This first one here, we're able to expand on that. So some of the items that are affected is insecure storage of passwords in the database, old, obsolete, vulnerable technologies in use, sensitive data. So you can see that on and on, even including some AWS related issues, insufficient network segmentation, and weak authentication mechanisms. So you're able to create these, and as you remediate these, you're able to take this off your list. You're able to share this with management and the different business groups that oversee and provide budget for these areas, and show them the plan that you have to mitigate. One of the things that's great about Hyver, not only are we taking red team data and making it more actionable, taking this data from pen tests, we're going beyond a executive summary that you'd get in a pen test report. Executive summaries don't really give enough information. It doesn't really show the business impact. Here we're able to show you the business impact as well as help you plan the remediation. And so with Hyver, we're able to help you communicate business impact to your management, to the board, in a way they can understand. We're translating cybersecurity threats into risks, into probability of breaches, to provide this information that management is able to understand, help you to get the budget you need for remediation, and make it easier. We're kind of like a translator between cybersecurity and business, able to put it into terms that the business can understand, and making it easier for the two to work together.